Hello, it's Dr. Cortex here, and you're listening to Raw Dogs, one of my favorite podcasts. So keep listening. Who knows what you'll find out?
Hey everybody, and welcome to Raw Dogs. This is Brad here. Raw Dogs, we're a really popular podcast. Everybody likes us.
Podcast number one.
Yeah, we were ranked number one on top podcasts that's related to my family.
Don't look into it.
We're at the top of my mom's list. Mom's favorite podcasts. She listens to one podcast, and she doesn't even listen to this one. But we're at the top of the list.
Realistically, my brother is the only family member that's listened to us, probably.
My mom tried listening to one, and she was like, I just don't get it. And I said, honestly, you don't have to.
What don't you get about Kingdom Hearts lore, Mom?
I've had extended family members listen. They're like, yeah, it's cool. You're fucking weird on it. I'm like, oh, you're just seeing me normal now. Okay.
Oh, you're fucking weird on it.
Devin likes it. I think Devin listens a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. We are part of the HyperX Podcast Network. For more information, check out podcast.hyperx.com. A lot of fantastic shows on there. And my name is Brad Sylvania, Count Bradula.
You're using them all.
You got anything?
No. Those would have been the first two, though.
Dylan Moth.
Sure. Dylan Moth.
Instead of Galamoth. I don't know. We're reaching here.
Okay.
Dylan, who are you?
I'm the co-host, and I'm here to fulfill my duties.
I'm here because I have to be.
No. I'm
Dylan
here
is contractually obligated to be here today.
I'm here to slay some audio.
Yeah.
Sick, dude.
Well,
Hang 10. I'm doing the Hang 10 sign. Isn't this the Hang? Is this the Hang 10 sign?
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I think
Mahalo?
like the devil horns might be more appropriate today.
Yeah.
I'll do that for Dio. Absolutely.
And who else is here?
I'm Tyler. I'm the other host. I didn't think of a cool Castlevania name, but I do have a My Chemical Romance tattoo, so I am kind of a little emo boy.
I'm thinking we should
which is
all.
a theme.
I'm thinking we should all come up with like, you know how The Simpsons in the credits had like their like scary name.
Yeah.
You'd be Dialer.
Yeah. For like the Treehouse of Horror episodes.
Yeah, I would be Killin' Cough.
That's good.
Killing Cough, I'd be badly something.
Badly
Warts.
Badly Warts. Badly Warts is pretty good.
Or Swords.
Oh, yeah. Swords.
And yes, we are at the end of our Castlevania month.
Yeah.
And we've talked about all of the games. We've talked about the gameplay. We've gushed and we've ranted. But there's also just one last thing that we have to do.
Confront marriage. Brad, you just recently got married.
I did. Mm-hmm. And the marriage is going well.
2 weeks in.
No one has tried to kill us yet. I haven't had to vow to take down any cities because they killed my wife, which is things that happen sometimes. You see, I don't think Dracula should have remarried. I think after the first one, you call it a wash, but no, he went and fell in love again.
He didn't seem too interested before the first one.
Yeah, that's true.
He was very interested in his first one. He had a big plan, but before we get into that, we have a few beers we're going to drink today that were given to us from our good friend Ryan. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Yep, we appreciate it. These are from Martin House Brewing out of Fort Worth, Texas. The first one we have is Panama Red. This is a sour IPA with pomegranates. It's 6%. And if you notice on the can, it looks like a young woman doing drugs, which is appropriate for people trying to understand the timeline of Castlevania.
Oh, that's
I'm getting
perfect.
kind of like, I don't know, I have only glanced at it, but I'm getting kind of like Disco Elysium vibes from the can.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hardcore to the max. Hardcore. Hardcore.
It smells very good.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's fantastic.
I was not a sour fan like a year ago.
Yeah.
I fucking love sours now.
It makes sense. Now you spend time in breweries, you're getting a little IPA'd out. And you want to mix it up a bit.
Well, I think what's interesting about this is, you know, even like last time we recorded, we had the pickle one.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it. And I expected to hate it, but it had more of the cucumber flavor than anything, rather than the sour vinegar of,
Yeah.
which I appreciated. Did they actually add pickle juice or something to that?
I'm sure.
Okay. Well, gross, first of all.
I
You poisoned me.
pickle juice is fine.
It's my kryptonite.
Not a wooden stake. Just throw some pickle juice at the D-man and you will take him down.
Ew, 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 ew.
He melts like the Wicked Witch of the West.
I have to wash my hands now.
I'm going to smell like pickles all day.
So, the Castlevania Timeline. These timeline episodes are fun.
Yeah.
Because this is something that simultaneously doesn't matter at all to a lot of games. But some people take it very seriously. I was surprised
Nerds.
how much I was okay with the Castlevania Timeline. Certain games, when I look into it, I become very upset and tired and angry.
Why?
Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, well, okay, yeah.
Yeah, but like some games... I
Well,
don't
they
know.
give you years. It helps.
Yeah, and there is at least a little logic. So
Yeah.
before we jump in, some of the rules that happened with the timeline. In 2002, IGA tried to create a cohesive timeline and unify games. And,
Retrospect.
And-
much like the Legend of Zelda timeline.
I mean, it's totally not important that he did this. There's no reason for him to say, well, there is just no way Castlevania Circle of the Moon and 64 can fit into our timeline because he just put arbitrary rules into place that weren't there to make it impossible for those things to happen when really they didn't need to. I mean, they're fine.
If you wanted to see this as a cohesive thing, who was actually hoping for that?
I think Iga Rashi is the only one who's like, we must bring it together.
Well, I think maybe, and I could be totally wrong about this, but without a cohesive timeline, we never get the Netflix anime. Because giving it a narrative that's going to stretch across, multiple generations and try to make this cohesive thing, Netflix might have saw that and been like, hey, this is something that has longevity. If it's popular, we can run with it.
But that could have all happened without Iga going in and saying, we're changing shit.
I actually don't think so, because Warren Ellis was the head writer and executive producer of it and openly admitted to never playing any Castlevania game. So in his research, he must have read the timeline.
And as we go through the games, we'll see that there's going to be a lot of things that rhyme, as George Lucas describes the prequels. There will be similar themes. There will be the best friend who might be the evil guy, and you need to save him. There will be the ditzy female character, not necessarily ditzy, but the one that
There are a lot of
needs
ditzy characters in this.
that needs some saving. And Dracula will come back. Every time it was the last time, he will come back. There will be cults. Like, there are certain things that you can kind of just expect.
Kind of fudges the narrative a bit. Gives it a little less gravity.
Yeah, I mean, fighting Dracula is less important when you do it 20 times.
Yeah.
But some of the rules that Iga put on there. Rule number 1, Dracula automatically revives every 100 years. Rule number 2, unless someone revives him early, which is almost every goddamn time. And it's also like he makes these rules like we can only do every 100 years. And I'm like, that's fucking bullshit. Like every other game, there's just a cult that brings him back early. And also, you're making the stories. You can just say Dracula comes back earlier. It's like, I know I said it once, and now I am bound by the laws of Iga.
I mean, there's a lot of confusion too. They don't show a lot of like daily life in the lives of these people. But if you knew that Dracula was coming back every 100 years or at any time whatsoever, you would probably do a better job than sending one guy out to do it.
But nobody else has got the lower body strength of the Belmonts to get it done.
Yeah.
And they also have the
Squat walks.
Yeah, that and the whip. There's only one whip.
Yes.
Yeah, but that doesn't, whatever. Fire tends to hurt Dracula too.
Dracula is susceptible to many things, but the whip is specifically designed to take down him and vampires in general.
See, my pitch is that there's this really cool guy. He looks kind of like me and almost exactly.
Okay, Dylan Schneider.
But he just dresses as a big clove of garlic.
This seems like a bonus character that would exist in the game. Yes.
The whip is just insurance, though. What you really do is you make Dracula fall in love with you, because that's another one of his kryptonites.
That's what Dylan does to everybody.
Yeah. You got to
Toss
seduce
of
him.
my receding hairline, just woo.
And then when he's making a mixed drink for him and Dracula, he just puts a little garlic in there. Got him.
It's over, baby.
Was it all a lie?
Baby, it was never real.
I'll be back in 100
I
years.
imagine Garlic Man actually like chitters and he goes,
Dylan rips his mask off and he's just garlic all the way down.
clearly now I have to draw Garlic Man.
In 2002, when EGA made these rules, Legends, Circle of the Moon, and 64 were removed at that time. As the time went forward, Circle of the Moon and 64 games were re-added. And,
Would it even matter?
Igarashi was asked, what do you think in the whole history of Castlevania was the worst decision ever made about the series? And he said, probably when we put out the timeline. Because since Dracula only appears every 100 years, we made the whole timeline and ran out of places to put in another game. Stupid. But our approach today, we seek to include every game into the timeline unless something happens that makes it impossible. So we are going to include things that aren't on the official timeline if there's no reason not to, because it's a little more fun.
What kind of gobbledygook rules couldn't you use to just insert it anyway?
Well,
Right.
they also have, unless a cult brings them back. So you could literally put a game anywhere in the timeline. You just have to introduce a cult.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to, they realize later, like, we don't have to fight Dracula every time. There can be other enemies.
Yeah.
I mean, arguably they made way too many games in this series anyway, but, you know.
Well, I have a feeling we're going to get some new Castlevania games soon, judging by Konami's recent Silent Hills announcement.
Yeah.
And Suikoden. But the world of Castlevania, much like our own, except there's evil creatures and vampires and monsters. Vampires hunt humans to survive. They also experiment with evil magic, and some can even harness the power of evil's origin, chaos. Chaos is always in the background and the reason everything happens in this universe. Chaos is a creature born out of disorder and the negative energy of humans. It exists in a separate realm outside of time and space, an unlimited amount of dark power that only some vampires can harness. This allows for any bullshit you may need to happen.
Yeah.
It's essentially a backpack in The Walking Dead.
Which I don't know anything about The Walking Dead.
Well, The Walking Dead...
I know enough.
Yeah, they wrote themselves into corners before, so now at a certain point, every character has a backpack. That way, if you need to advance the plot...
tool.
You need a tool, you need a map, you need something. Oh, hold on. And then they reach into their Hermione bag and they pull out whatever they need. It's just
They've been going so long. How do you write the same story like that over and over again? I mean, I guess we're going to find out.
I like to think
through paychecks.
Yeah. I also
yeah.
like to think they're just super confused in the writing room, and at the end of every season, they're like, fuck, guys, we did it again. It's the exact same story.
I just watch and pretend Norman Reedus is Sam Porter Bridges, and then I just pretend he just got transported to a different world.
So the first character that we're going to introduce into our story is a vampire named Walter Bernhard. Eccentric vampire lord who had a forest castle in France. He possessed a jewel created through the art of alchemy called the Ebony Stone. This protected his castle and himself. Walter wanted to further cement his power, so he desires another vampire treasure, the Crimson Stone. The Crimson Stone can trap the soul of a powerful vampire and gives its user immense power. And death owes allegiance to whoever owns the Crimson Stone. These stones had at least one master before Walter, but this is the furthest back we can go. There's Joachim Armster, a former lieutenant of Walter. Not too important. He just shows up in the game. But Death shows up right away at the beginning, too. A being born out of chaos, which came from the evil in the hearts of humans.
Isn't death just death?
Death, I mean...
Death isn't born of the evil of humans. I mean, technically, if you're talking like biblically,
yeah,
I guess us becoming intelligent creatures made death something we were aware
it was
of.
the cousin of sleep.
Well, it depends on which mythology you want to go to.
They use a lot of Christianity in this. That's why I kind of jumped to that.
Yeah. Death doesn't have a lot of personality traits. He's loyal to whoever has the Crimson Stone. He doesn't really have a lot of his own volition other than he just wants to help the Lord of the Castle.
Sure.
He doesn't have a favorite band. He doesn't have magazine subscriptions.
Seems like he's got shit to do.
He just has general evil to do, but Walter is growing weary of eternal life, so he begins kidnapping women to entertain himself, as you do.
Do we know how old Walter is at this point?
We do not know.
Is it assumed a long while?
If he's
tired of it?
If he's bored with eternal life, I'm guessing he's been around for a little bit. He does kidnap the daughter of Ronaldo Gandolfi, who is a man who survived a fight that he had with him.
I loved him in The Sopranos.
If I had seen The Sopranos, I would make a good joke right now.
James Gandolfini.
Of all days, on your mother's birthday.
Yeah, his daughter Justine was taken and turned into a vampire.
That was a good joke, Brad. Just so you know. Keep it in.
It's in. On the day of my daughter's wedding, Godfather, I don't know. Ronaldo found his wife and his family murdered by Justine, who was laughing covered in blood. That's how he found out his daughter was a vampire, and he murdered her. The whip that you use was created by Ronaldo. Mm-hmm. So then we reached the year 1094 with Leon Belmont and the Lament of Innocence. Leon is one of the most skilled French knights in the area, orphaned at the age of 16, and grew up with his best friend, Matthias Kronkvist. They grew to be knights, and they fought for the church. They both had hot wives. They go off to war, and Matthias's wife is killed while he is away. And so, what do you do other than curse all of religion and God, right?
I think I would.
Yeah,
I think
naturally.
I would. Yeah.
You were doing that beforehand, though. You were already like...
See, you just got to go deeper.
Yeah.
I relate a lot to Dracula.
At this point, a plan is put into place by Matthias. So he learned of the Crimson Stone, and he decided he wants to become an eternal vampire. So after vowing to fight the forces of God, he kidnaps Walter. Right, he seeks out Walter to execute his plan. He informed Walter of Leon and set up Walter to kidnap Leon's wife, thus starting the game. He goes to Walter's castle, which isn't Castlevania, and he is unable to stop him without the power of the vampire killer. Mm-hmm. And he does, though. He is able to escort Sarah out of the castle, where she is unable to go further because she has been bitten and she is a vampire, so she's not allowed to leave. And Ronaldo says, I can help you, but we have to do some dark shit. Mm-hmm. And this is where the vampire killer gets created.
In the anime, they call it the Morning Star.
That's another weapon, a separate weapon,
separate. That's not the vampire killer,
or an attachment to the vampire killer, depending on the game.
Interesting.
That you are in. Yeah, the vampire killer goes missing for a while too. But to power the whip from Ronaldo, tainted soul must willingly sacrifice itself. So Sarah knows there is no other way, and she chooses to let Leon kill her with the whip. And the whole time Ronaldo is just like playing the Doom soundtrack in the background, just fucking jerking off with pig blood. He's into it. He loves it. And so that's where the vampire killer is born. For the rest of the game, you have Sarah's tainted vampire soul in your whip.
And so basically you're carrying around great grandma?
No, because they didn't procreate. Leon has a new wife afterwards, so...
Oh, no shit.
Oh,
yeah.
So it's great side piece.
Yeah.
not side piece.
Technically, yeah, because she's dead.
It would be grandpa's great grandpa's ex-lover.
If they boned, he was very religious, and I don't know if they were married. I think they might have been.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
I bet they did.
I think Belmont's mostly fuck.
They should.
Yeah. For no other
They're
reason.
the only ones who can beat Dracula.
Yeah, it's kind of a curse. Like, they should be out there having hundreds of kids.
Yeah. I mean, if the Irish can do it.
So Leon confronts Walter, defeats him. Death arrives then and takes Walter's soul and gives it to Matthias because Matthias has the Crimson Stone. He explains his plan and he leaves. You fight Death, and Leon declares, from this day on, the Belmont clan will hunt the night. The castle crumbles, and Matthias, old Matty, is going to become Dracula. He changes his name.
The second game.
Even though there's a historical figure
Vlad Dracul Tepesh,
Yeah.
which is Matthias. That is Matthias Kronqvist.
Yeah.
Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah, Vlad the Impaler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. He took a real 180 there.
And yeah, so there's 300 years now between this and the next game, but for some reason, he goes like, "There's no way we could put another game." I was like, "You got 300 years in there. You could probably figure something out."
You put at least 3 games there.
Put at least 3, but with Leon now walking the path of a vampire hunter in pursuit of Matthias, the Belmont's eternal struggle against evil begins. He changes his name to Dracula, Vlad Tepesh. He kind of
It's a real hardcore shift into another ethnicity, too.
From Kronqvist to Pesh.
I don't think those are Romanian.
Well, Matthias was French. I don't know if Kronqvist is necessarily a French-sounding name.
I think Kronqvist is.
It could work, but he was a French soldier, so he went and he hid out, but he created his own castle, and he called it Castlevania.
Hey, we're all white here.
What am I going to name this place? I got a castle here in Transylvania. I got nothing.
Castlevania. Yeah. I do love that.
I love it.
I do love that wherever Castlevania lands, the land around it kind of becomes Castlevania too. It's nice. It's like its own borders, and it just automatically invades.
Yeah,
I like that.
And the castle can move around. It's a creature of chaos. So yeah, it
Chaos.
does. It does go different locations. Just because, got that backpack, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
He's creates Castlevania as a refuge for monsters and any time period, any kind of monster. So that's why you can have skeletons with motorcycles and chainsaws before they were invented, because it's kind of out of time and space, this chaos thing. I put down Leon created a home and had a fuck. The vampire killer became the Belmont legacy. And now we're in the 1400s. A young woman named Lisa sought the castle to seek advanced knowledge to heal people. This is Dracula's next wife, the next love of his life, Lisa. One thing I think we can all appreciate about Dracula, dude loves science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She goes in there, she's like, holy shit.
I mean,
Is that a boiling flask?
I mean, if you had 200,
Erlenmeyer flask?
if you had like even 200 years worth of life, do you think you would get bored of video games and just really try to solve some shit? I mean, I would.
Yeah.
Well, luckily they just keep making new games.
Yeah, but then at one point are you like, oh, I've played all these before, blah.
Oh, Mario and the princess again. Great. They made a movie?
Chris Pratt. Ugh.
That guy's super talented.
He's great in the Lego movie, but I'm not sure about this.
Did he not choose to do an accent on this one? Is this the rough cut?
I actually like the accent he chose.
Well,
It's a bit of Bronx.
I think it's kind of you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think if he was doing the over-the-top caricature the whole way, it probably would be grating. Maybe don't have Chris Pratt. I don't know, but I'm still open.
Your
I think
idea
Chris
was
Pratt
the
is
best,
problematic.
where he
figure.
like clocks out and he doesn't do the voice anymore.
Yeah.
Like it was like the whole.
Just have a regular voice.
Yeah.
I don't.
From what I hear, Martinet is involved technically, so
He's going to be at the end with
the
like
credits
a cameo or something.
Golly.
It's just like the way Black Adam. They're like, oh, we got Superman. He's in there for like 30 seconds in the credits. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely right.
But Lisa, she shows up and Dracula, he's like, look at my fangs. And she's like, I don't care, you big nerd. And he hasn't had a boner like this in a long time. Dracula's excited that she's not afraid of him.
Yeah. He's like, did you see all the people outside? You see all those people on stakes?
Yeah.
That didn't scare you off? But you're into science?
Are they calling the show canon?
I think it can exist in like a side canon with the games. I don't think that the show really does anything outright.
The show introduces a lot of characters from different time periods, though, but
I don't think any of them would be outside of the canon of the games, though.
I mean, Hector's in it.
That makes sense. They change Hector's enemy, his rival, which we'll talk about later. They make him look a lot cooler than they do in the games.
Oh, okay.
But they married, and he refused to turn her into a vampire. All the other vampires in town are like, this is kind of sketchy, dude. He's like, she wears eyeliner. I like her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has great tastes.
I mean, he's a little emo boy.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think they're...
Who knows what happened in the meantime, though? Maybe he got his heart broken.
Was she a skater girl?
Real Avril Lavigne type.
I mean, Castlevania could theoretically have a skate park.
Blah, I feel
could,
just
yeah.
like Chad Kroger.
And actually, it's Alucard is a skateboarder.
That is true. That's canon.
And Captain N.
Yeah.
Well
Yeah.
done.
Check it out.
Dude.
Speaking of, Lisa became pregnant and they had a son named Adrian Fahrenheit Depeche.
Fahrenheit.
That's his middle name.
Okay, so
Kelvin was taken.
speaking of vampires, this is something that's bugged me for a long time. They're dead, right?
Yeah, how do they make living babies?
Yeah, it was a prop. The entire Twilight series just falls apart when you realize that like Edward can't get a boner.
And also, why
Well, you can get-
why haven't vampires had sex with humans and made human babies to begin with?
I think it's just like one
Are
of
the
those.
balls the only part of him that's living?
It's a major faux pas, is what it is. Like it's.
But I mean, like a faux pas. But at some point, like Draculas. I was going to call them all Draculas. At some point, like vampires are very well known in the mythology for being kind of like seductive creatures. This had to have happened like a million times before. How many half vampires do we have out there?
Well, I think mostly they use their powers to lure people in. I don't think that. I mean, I think it's hard for vampires to not need the blood. And
Well, yeah, that's that game Vampire.
yeah,
With the Y in it, that's how you put them in a trance and they'll like listen to you and then you take them off into an
oh
alley.
yeah,
and then you bleed 'em
mesmerized.
dry.
Yeah.
I am going to be honest. Though I think vampires are probably still really horny, and there would be maybe some more Dampiers running around, which is the half human, half vampire.
Just saying, like physiologically, how does it work? I'm curious. I think if anybody could figure it out, it would be Dracula because he's a man of science.
Hey, you know how? Chaos.
Ah, you son
pretty
of a
good.
bitch, you got me.
Yeah,
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Chaos is like, take that semen and we're going to put a little chili powder in there and give it a kick. And it is good to go. Look at those hungry boys in there.
Man alive.
Adrian, he grows very fast. He ages twice as fast as a normal thing for some reason.
You know
Chaos.
what's in the show? I think it's explained that he aged 22 years in 5.
He didn't have much of a childhood,
No, and that's pretty well explained.
but he did have a childhood in 1443. Dracula and Lisa were away on vacation, and Galamoth was living in the basement. He's like this big, like ultra powerful demon that Dracula put down in the basement. And Galamoth escapes while they were away, and he became king of the castle. Whether Galamoth is a demon, a dragon, an alien, or something else isn't really explained, but Kid Dracula saves the day.
They need to introduce aliens to this. Oh my God, I've got a pitch now.
There you go. That's how you can do it again.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I mean, why not aliens? Maybe they're just interdimensional creatures. Never mind. I'm going to get too far into this.
I mean, for fuck's sake, we got motorcycles at a certain point.
To
I'd
go
rather
to
aliens.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the classic film, they're not from outer space. They're from the space between spaces.
Yeah. Thank you, George Lucas.
Thanks, George.
I actually like that scene at the end, though.
That movie isn't as bad as it.
It's not as bad as they
It's
say.
okay.
It still rhymes with the rest of them.
But Kid Dracula essentially pulls a Kevin McAllister and protects the castle from Galamoth.
And he looks so cute.
And Galamoth has reality-altering powers. He sends him 10,000 years in the future. He fights a chicken, and he goes onto a quiz show with the Statue of Liberty. Mm-hmm. That game's fun. And then
Have you ever played Kid Dracula?
No, I only played like 2 minutes of it with Brad.
It's super cute.
Oh, it's a ton of fun. It's not super hard to beat. It can be unforgiving, but once you get the timing of the jumps right, you're absolutely golden because there's not a shitload of combat.
I was super confused.
There aren't a
once
ton
you
of
said
Medusa
chicken.
heads.
There are?
There aren't that many.
Okay, then we're good. Well, we'll get into that later.
1 year later, Galamoth escapes again on the Game Boy, but we stop him one more time. Kid Dracula, it's Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. He's fine again. Mm-hmm. And that brings us into 1450 to Sonia Belmont in the Castlevania Legend. This was the third Game Boy game. It was removed, but I don't think there's any reason it couldn't. Adrian would visit town and befriended a 17-year-old girl named Sonia Belmont. Some villagers noticed Adrian was sketchy, and they chased him out of town. And Dracula was angry because they picked on his kid. You can't pick on my kid. He goes into town and starts punishing mortals, which we've all been to football games. There's that one dad who overreacts at things.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
true.
Yeah, that's Dracula. Score a touchdown or you're sleeping in the yard tonight. Where's the flag?
Have you ever actually met people like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, I played sports, my brother played sports, and my younger brother played sports. And there's always one dad. One dad. Sometimes it's a mom. The moms are funnier because they just like, it's high-pitched screaming the whole time.
Yeah.
Where's that flag? Yeah.
Yeah. That's Dracula. When anyone calls Adrian a nerd, he gets very defensive.
My mom would be like, just literally pay attention at all.
He was safe at the plate. What are you fucking
I know you.
Open your eyes, man.
I know you like catching grasshoppers, but you gotta pay attention when you're in the outfield.
Do you think dancing school for real? Is this you joking?
Dad, I just want to dance.
Or do you think Dracula would be more pissed if his kid was like, I want to play football? He's like, you're supposed to be a scientist, no? We do not play these silly games.
The skateboard is a privilege. It will be taken away.
But Dad, I just want to shred.
Dad, no, man. I met this girl named Sonia. She's great. She finds out that Adrian is the son of Dracula, and they have a discussion about it. She defeats the Count, but he does live. She meets a man, and she gives birth to Trevor. And Trevor Belmont, of course, learns of the legacy. Dracula goes traveling and recruits some more people to join Castlevania. This is when I'm going to meet the characters of Isaac and Hector. Mm-hmm. Isaac and his sister Julia fled a village as his sister was accused of witchcraft, and they sought Dracula's castle. It's one of those self-fulfilling prophecies where someone was wrongfully accused, and it kind of just pushes them towards what they were being accused of. And a child named Hector was born with white hair and was ostracized for being a white-haired kid. I mean, House of Dragon, that's a good thing, you know?
Yeah, you want that.
Everyone just called him Grandpa.
They wouldn't let him...
Beautiful little Grandpa.
Grandpa, why don't you just go to the old folks' home? We're playing baseball. Yeah.
I'm 8.
I'm 8.
You shouldn't be wielding a bat. You should be wielding a cane.
They wouldn't even let him play with them, much like the beloved Christmas classic Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. His dad was an alchemist, though, and his mom was fairly absent. He loved animals, and when one of his animals died, he just kind of learned his own dark magic and brought it back to life, which is pretty cool.
It's like a reverse Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah. It's like if Dahmer was good at what he did.
Yeah. Finds roadkill and just like, poof. Be free, little buddy.
Well,
Yeah.
I could get into Dahmer. I won't. I know too much.
The resurrected animals attracted demons who set Hector's city ablaze, so he went off to join Dracula as well. They both learned dark magic, and so Hector and Isaac became friends. They were the only two humans to learn to be devil forge masters, and Dracula's only two human friends. In 1475, the church has learned of Lisa's controversial healing techniques of common fucking sense, like washing her hands. And
Yeah, no typhoid here.
yeah.
When she wipes her butt with that stick they used to wipe their butts with,
The communal stick.
she just goes, "Oh man, this is really pretty fucking gross. Can I just wash this off?"
I'm going to
Even
use
if
a
it's
glue
like-
stick.
Yeah. And she just goes, maybe, alcohol seems to work pretty good.
Yeah, like germs. Come on, that's not a real
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
Yes.
Also, can you imagine wiping your butt with a big stick?
No. Leaves, maybe, but there's got to be something better than a stick wherever you're pooping. I don't know.
The fact that it was like, especially in Rome, it was a communal stick. So
Yeah,
there would
that's
be
what-
like,
Are you joking?
It would, no, it would be in the middle of the
when
room.
they say the short end of the stick?
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. Yeah.
Are you kidding?
I'm not fucking
It was like a,
How have I never heard of this?
it's a stick with a little sponge or something on the end.
Yeah.
And then you would like literally wipe your ass with it and you put it back in the little water thing that it was in.
And they're like, this is so healthy, guys. I'm so proud of us. It's like everyone's just clapping for themselves.
Yeah.
And
Way to
then,
go, Jeremy.
and here comes Lisa with a pack of Charmin. And they're like, what is this?
I would
she's
just
a-
sit like a dog and scoot across the
She's
floor.
a woman of science. I imagine she probably invented the first bidet.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like a steampunk bidet.
Steampunk
and-
bidet.
Releases steam up there.
And a priest accidentally liked it and thought it was the devil.
Yeah.
Tends to be the way of things.
Yeah. Ooh, my butthole feels great. This is bad.
I don't
Let
like
me
this.
get back to molesting children.
They learn of her relationship with Dracula and burn her at the town square. Adrian rushes from the castle and seeks to save her. She screams to stop and do not hate humans, do them no harm. Adrian starts calling himself Alucard.
Which game did this occur in?
We see this in Symphony of the Night in the flashback with the succubus.
Oh my god, you're right.
Yes.
And then this is the literal first episode of Castlevania,
Yes.
Yeah.
which is one of the gnarliest scenes ever. That
Yeah,
was
it's pretty rad.
Well, and then when Dracula's head appears over
Yeah.
the city, like, you have 1 year, motherfuckers.
And they're all like, God will protect us. It's not true.
That next day, I would be 20 miles away on foot.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I would be
he gave
continuing
him-
to go.
He gave you a whole year, though. You can wait 8 months, you know?
What day is it? Oh, fuck.
Your lease isn't up. No.
We're gonna go the day before, guys. It'll be fine. And then you accidentally get too drunk. You're like, I'll move the next day.
Yeah.
But Adrian started calling himself Alucard, the reverse of his father. Which
Some edgy dad.
I'm gonna do the reverse of your name, Dad. I'm gonna be Dad. Fuck. It sounded better in my head. Hector, though, renounces humans to help Dracula, and he moves into the castle. And Alucard realizes his dad must die. He confronts his father but cannot defeat him, so he seals himself below the city. Speakers visit the city and seek the rumored warrior below ground, including a young woman named Saifa Belnades. And she seeks to free Alucard, but she's paralyzed by a cyclops. Other resistance forces include Grant Dynasty.
greatest name in the series.
Yeah, just a badass pirate named Dynasty.
Yeah.
Honestly,
That dude
why
did-
wasn't he included in the anime?
They caught him in a really weird
Yeah.
threesome with an animal, and they're like, that guy's Dynasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You build a church, nobody calls you the church maker. You fuck one goat.
Yeah. And he embraced it. He's like, I'm Dynasty from now on. He was a rich, retired pirate, but Dracula's forces destroyed his home, so he went in to fight him. He was the only survivor of his party, then he was turned into a beast. The genocide of humanity begins at the hands of Count Dracula, and a secret team is sent in from the church by the Eastern Orthodox Church to find and eliminate him, but everything ends in failure, so in the final act of desperation, they're like, fine, we'll ask the Belmonts, who the church doesn't like because they're into, like, probably magic and some strong shit that the church doesn't support doing.
It's highly implied that the Belmonts were into Gnosticism and all forms of religion. Still, generally speaking, like along the line somewhere, they're like, well, if this works, we're going to use it because it's still under God's domain, that kind of thing. And Gnosticism is pretty crazy because they think the devil is pretty rad.
Yeah, I mean, there's good sides to everything.
Yeah.
The devil has better music.
Why isn't the devil shown up in Castlevania?
I mean, I was a kid and I went to a Christian music festival, and even when I was a child, I'm like, this shit's dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Under Oath had me really confused for a while.
Is that a
Under
Christian
Oath?
band?
Yeah, but they're heavy. They're
you
heavy
confused?
metal.
Yeah, you really liked Mumford and Sons as well.
No, if I
Christian?
listen to the song The Cave one more time, if I hear that song one more time, I will end it.
Is the cave?
Come out of the cave, walking on your hands, see the world hanging. It's a terrible.
The
Little
weird-
Lion Man, and
If I hear that banjo one more time,
the same resonant.
So at the Christian music
I'll
festival,
die.
the Christian music festival I went to, they had the HM stage, which was heavenly metal.
heavenly metal.
And it was my first time seeing one of those, like, circle pits where no one actually hits each other, but they, like, just stomp their hands and, like, they walk really hard like Belmonts, essentially, in a circle. And I'm like, I don't know who these adults are, but they should be going home.
Have you guys ever seen someone do tongues?
Speak in tongues.
I've seen it on infomercials.
I've seen it. It's crazy.
I have a vague memory of being a child seeing somebody do it because I was raised Southern Baptist in Arkansas.
Oh shit!
So I think I've seen somebody do it, and I was so genuinely confused.
In 1476,
Segue.
Trevor Belmont, now 20 years old, begins his journey into the castle. He frees the freedom fighter Grant Dynasty, the mage Saifa Belnades, and he encounters the son of Dracula, Alucard. They all join forces, and they go into the castle to fuck some shit up. Carmilla, another vampire with a great castle, believed Dracula was blinded with rage and risking their kind, so she tried to have Hector betray him. This became known to Dracula, so he imprisoned her into a mask. Carmilla shows up a few other times. Down the line, Hector agrees to kill Trevor if Dracula stops doing genocide. Dracula's fingers were crossed, and Hector also doesn't do it, making Hector kind of at odds with Dracula. The party, though, they join forces, they vanquish Dracula, Castlevania falls, and Isaac saw this happen and vowed vengeance on those nerds. Trevor, Dracula, Alucard, Sypha, and the goat fucker, Mr. Dynasty. Sypha then takes Trevor's hand in marriage, while Alucard, pained from killing his own father, submerges into an eternal slumber at the Belmont estate, and Grant spends the rest of his life rebuilding Wallachia. He also had the hots for Sypha and didn't go to their marriage. He's like,
Oh, no. But he was an old man and a beast.
And that's like you coming to my marriage despite you wanting to be with me. You weren't even mad at Carly about it.
I wasn't mad at Carly. Like, she got in good. And I, props.
And you could have hated her, but you're like,
I could have.
This is okay.
But I was going to be nice.
Yeah. I appreciate that. That was very mature of you.
You're welcome.
This brings us to 1479 with Hector and the Curse of Darkness. This is just a mere 3 years later. Trevor can tell something is wrong, and he seeks the answer. Sypha stays home, now pregnant with their child. Essentially, Isaac and Hector, they just kind of fight each other around Castlevania and into Castlevania. Just trying to think of anything that's important here. A lot of this is just a bunch of nonsense, these stories, There's a mysterious stranger named Zed who wants to destroy the curse. So he teams up with Hector. What happens here? Hector is living peacefully with a woman named Rosalie, and Isaac spreads a rumor she's selling poisoned apples, knowing the village will go crazy, and they destroy the village and kill her.
Okay.
And they burn her alive as a witch.
Counterproductive. It's fine.
Gosh, that was just such an easy threat to do back then. If someone made you mad, like, I'll tell everyone you're a witch. And that's all it took back then. Yeah, it's unfortunate for young women. But a mysterious stranger named Zed says he's going to help Hector. In reality, though, Zed is death. Zed's dead, baby, is what I put down.
That's pretty good.
Zed's dead, baby.
Zed's dead. Isaac's sister runs into Hector. She convinces Hector that Isaac isn't a bad guy, but he's just possessed with evil. And this is going to be another case of my best friend is the guy who's kind of starting all this evil, but I need to save him as well as defeat the castle and the evil. Hector meets somebody named Saint Germain. Now, Saint Germain is in the
Count
show.
Saint Germain. Well, the Count Saint Germain is actually a theorized historical figure who's an immortal who's existed long enough. They believe. Have you guys ever heard of the Wandering Jew?
Nope.
Sounds
Never
like
mind.
some Kanye West album.
I honestly don't have the time to get into it, but he's a mythological figure who, through alchemy, discovered the way to, and a curse by God, apparently, was able to find immortal life. So he goes from place to place and becomes different historical figures throughout time.
Yeah. Now, in the show, did they portray him as a time traveler?
No, not as a time traveler, just a
weirdo?
an immortal.
An immortal?
Yeah.
Okay. Saint Germain dresses fancy in a top hat, at least in the games. He talks a whole bunch. He belongs to a group of time travelers called the Time Watchers, and they're responsible for protecting the timeline. He was sent by Aeon from I
hate this.
Kingdom Hearts. From Aeon about 10,000 years in the future to merely be an observer, but he couldn't resist talking to Hector. Hector meets Trevor, who believes him to be Isaac, and I've gone cross-eyed. They fight. They fight. They all fight. They enter Castlevania. They fight each other. Okay, we're getting good stuff here. He enters Castlevania and challenges Isaac. Upon the moment of killing him, Hector pauses and realizes Dracula's curse is causing the bloodlust. Zed reveals himself and delays him long enough for his master to return. Oh my God, timeline episodes are hard.
Yeah, that's a lot. A lot just happened.
What game is this?
This is the Curse of Darkness. This is the second PS2 game.
Really?
Yeah.
No shit.
Which is a sequel to Castlevania 3. You don't kill Isaac, but you do have to... Dracula does come back, and he says he's so mad at Hector. Hector kills his former master and performs the final forging, where he summoned the essence of the curse and destroys it. Hector moves in with Julia, Isaac's sister, and we got some peace, so that's good.
This was 3 years after Dracula's vanquished, so he's only gone for 3 years, and then he's already back.
Yeah, because the Devil Forge Master's curse brings him back. What they need, though, to bring back Dracula is a lot of souls. They need a lot of people to die to give him power. to come back. Great stuff. Great stuff.
If you were someone playing these games, and on the PS2, this would have been around the time he created the timeline, right?
Yeah, this is shortly after this is after the timeline was created by a little bit, so he's aware of it at this point.
So if you weren't already invested, you get into this plot, and suddenly you're like, what's going on? If you played Castlevania 3, there's the bare bones of what you can imply to be a story, but there's no actual story. And then you play a game like this, and you're like, this isn't how I imagined it.
That's the problem with every game trying to mature themselves into the modern age. Castlevania didn't need a story. It needed a paragraph at the beginning. Dracula's castle has risen. You are a badass dude named Trevor or whatever it is, Simon. And that's all you needed for a story. But then they're like, but what about if this guy doesn't wear a shirt and his name's Isaac and he loves makeup and he's a forge master and he has a sister named Julia and he might have ulterior motives and Zed's there. Is he death? We don't know. This guy's a time traveler. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Can I just fight a werewolf, you know?
Well, that's hilarious because as the timeline goes on, it's literally just going to become buff dude goes into castle, kills Dracula.
Yep.
Which would be more than enough to describe half of these entries.
I mean, that's essentially what it is over half the time.
Yeah, and at this point, if you're still playing the games, like that's what you want.
Yeah.
You just want to be that buff guy that's going to go whoop some ass.
Yeah.
There is potential for good stories in Castlevania, but it is so easy for them to overdo it, overstep what they should, and I don't want a lot of cutscenes in my games, you know?
Yeah, and this
not
one,
in this one.
This particular portion with the soap opera drama we got going on right now with Isaac and Hector and all them, and Zed, it's just convoluted at this point. There's too many relationships to just be thrown at you.
Yeah. Also,
you need to simplify it and move forward.
It's crazy enough, but then Hector's sister, who was burned alive, is the spitting image of Isaac's sister,
who's still alive.
He sees her, he's like, oh my God, are you my sister? No, but I'm going to marry you.
That's some weird shit, though. That's weird.
Yeah.
Sister Khan.
But that all happens. We're going to take a quick break to hear from some of the other amazing shows from the HyperX Podcast Network, and we're going to be right back to talk about more barbarians with weird best friends and daddy issues.
Sounds like all of us.
Wow.
The Hardcore Gaming 101 podcast is on a mission to rank the top games of all time. I like the idea that when Bruce Wayne gets angry, he switches to the Batman voice.
Why do you have such a problem making Boomerang shaped like a bat? You mean like Batman? Not like Batman. Just make it for me, Bruce Wayne. Uncanny even with this guy.
It's a Herculean task, and I'd be lying if I said it hasn't taken a toll on our cognitive faculties.
Most people would be happy to have a job during a global pandemic. Dennis.
Hardcore Gaming 101, twice a week, every week, right here on the HyperX Podcast Network.
Introducing the new HyperX Cloud Stinger 2. The Stinger 2 is a refined evolution of the classic Cloud Stinger and keeps the fan-favorite 90-degree rotating ear cups, comfortable memory foam cushions, and the swivel-to-mute microphone. It also features 2 years of DTS Headphone X activation for upgraded sound localization, all while keeping the great price of the original Stinger. That's right, get the new Cloud Stinger 2 for only $50. Now isn't that nice? Available online at Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart, and of course, HyperX.com.
Oh no, they're winning 14-3.
Oh, nice.
Finally, the Packers guys, right?
Yeah. Tyler, can you do me a favor?
Yeah, what's up?
Can you reach into my brand new Xbox Series X fridge and grab me a Miller High Life? It's so cool.
I'm gonna acquiesce. Brad, I'm gonna say that this is a very cool fridge. What did you get it for?
$80 and boredom
and a hand job.
Yeah. The Target employee was very nice about it, though.
They had it at Target?
It was at $80 at Target, yeah. Because they just released a new fridge, which is a smaller version of this, which holds even less beers. Because this one doesn't hold a lot.
No.
Yeah.
How much did the guy want at MGC? Do you remember?
It was 100, I think.
Yeah.
Was the lowest he would go. So this is the cheapest I've seen him, but I went for it.
It's pretty cool. It looks just like it.
It's cool. Yeah. It's a nice addition to our recording studio, but we have another beer that Ryan sent us from Martin House Brewing. This is called Cocytus. It is a rye whiskey barrel-aged imperial stout, 14%.
Wow.
Can you read us what the Cocytus name is about at the top there?
About the beer. The River Cocytus is a cold and dismal place in Dante's Inferno. It's a treacherous body of water and ice that surrounds Hades, and has trapped thousands of souls. At Martin House, Cocytus is our intense barrel-aged imperial stout with cacao nibs. Did you want me to read all of it?
Is that the top two paragraphs there? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, the top two I could do. We aged this brew for 4 to 6 months in rye whiskey barrels. To balance out the aggressive barrel flavor, cacao nibs were added. This beer is not to be taken lightly. It is said that the river is the main resting place for traitors and wrongdoers. One thing is for sure, do not turn your back on Cocytus.
This is the label on this, how it goes all the way around with like little to no break is awesome.
Is that...
Yeah.
This came in that?
Yeah.
Were there two?
There were 2 cans.
check out the
Ryan
label.
sent us
The label
a
book.
can and the badass box they came in. Those other 2 boxes up there are other
I mean,
ones
those
we'll
are
drink
worth
later.
keeping. Those are wonderful. Yeah.
Those are dope. But this is a mean 14% beer.
Yeah, when you put the picture in Discord, this one was like, ooh, that looks nasty.
I mean, to be honest with you, like, you're going to taste the alcohol at that percentage.
Get a nice cacao nibs on the nose.
I like that.
Oh, it's rich.
That is surprisingly easy to drink.
Yeah.
I was expecting it to blow my socks off.
You were expecting it to be a little like vodka almost.
I was expecting it to be rough.
Kind of that hit of a hard liquor, that kind of like nib of that. Yeah.
Because I'm not a big stout guy yet. I'm kind of like just dipping my toes in the pool. But I can do this.
I love porters. Stouts sometimes, they give me tummy aches.
Yeah, it's that time of the year. Stout's definitely going to be starting to become more prevalent in places, but...
Can you guys give me a recommendation now that I'm thinking about it? Maybe you guys are more knowledgeable than I am. I'm looking for a
Viagra.
Yeah. Perfect. No, that's all I needed. No, I was actually going to ask... I really want to... There's a part of me that wants to try more of the pumpkin beers.
Sure.
Is there anyone that you guys recommend?
We have one at Ope called the Jack Ale Ope, but it's...
Is it like a stout? Is it like a thick?
No, it's an ale. It's like a pumpkin ale.
I want a thick boy.
I remember working at Indeed Brewing, and we had a sweet potato beer, and the brewer was giving us a class about it. He was like, it's got all those bullshit false spices that all the pumpkin beers have.
Sure.
And he said, I shouldn't have said it like that. But I mean, and a lot, like those pumpkin beers don't even have pumpkin in them.
No, I know,
Most
but
of them.
what you're looking for is the spice flavor that they
Yes.
have. If there's any thicker beer like that has that, I'm looking for them because I want to share some, but I don't know.
I'll keep my eye out.
Check out the liquor store. There'll probably be something there.
For later this month,
It's usually just a local bodega for me.
Yeah.
a guy I work with brewed a cream. What is it? The term for it?
Cream ale?
Yeah, cream ale.
Yeah.
Back sweetened with nerds.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I'm
That
like
sounds
weird, right?
a lot.
I saw
Nerds
fruit.
are super sour.
Yep.
I saw
Okay.
Fruity Pebble flavored syrup at the store the other day.
Did you get it?
No, I was like really concerned. I think maybe they've gone too far.
That's just diabetes in a bottle.
The children. Think of the children.
1576, we meet Christopher Belmont in the Castlevania adventure. This is the first and the second Game Boy game. This is Trevor and Sypha's great-grandson. He grew up in a manor and is kind of a rich boy. His parents died when they were younger. So he's been raised by his butler, Deimos, who is also well-trained and somewhat of an Alfred.
That's what I was going to say.
That's the coolest thing about Chris is he's got like a Batman thing going on.
No, you whip it like this, not this, Master Chris.
You're not my father.
I'm your surrogate father.
Oh, sorry, Master Belmont. We get back on the horse, though, don't we?
God.
He even insists on training his betrothed, Ileana, as being a Belmont can be dangerous. The past...
Human shield.
Yeah.
Not betrothed.
She's supposed to stand in front of him when the train comes.
I see.
The past 100 years, Dracula has been raising human followers. They've been seeking to bring him back. This cult is known as the Order of Shadows. One of the most prominent members is the Bartley family. During Christopher's wedding, they enact the resurrection. They sacrifice others and themselves to bring him back. And, Chris goes and fights Dracula. This is what's going to happen.
Sure.
Yeah. Ileana is pregnant.
It's a Game Boy game.
He fights Dracula. The shit happens again. And Dracula's like, no! And we all knew this was going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Unless you got a game over and you just didn't pick up the game again. But Christopher rescues Ileana. They escape. Unbeknownst to him, though, this is some weird lore for no reason. Dracula gives her a bloody kiss, which I guess works differently than biting her. So she carries an infection in her, but she's not a vampire. But it travels into their son, Soleil Belmont.
Okay.
Because chaos. This baby has some of Dracula's essence in it. In 1591, as Christopher's son comes to age, they were having a ceremony to confer the title of vampire hunter upon him, which I guess it's like a bar mitzvah. I don't know.
Shalom.
Show me your dick, son. He did it. This has a lady's soul in this whip.
Treat it like a lady. Practices kissing on it.
So the boy gets kidnapped. So Chris has to defeat 4 separate castles because they're set up before you can go to Castlevania. Defeating them, though, gathers enough dark energy to bring back Castlevania. So it's all part of Dracula's plan.
Sinister.
Yep. Chris encounters his son, who has succumbed to the evil vampirism in his heart, but they fight and Soleil breaks free from Dracula's control, and they vow to fight the Order of Shadows and stop the cult from doing this again. This brings us to a mobile phone game, which I have to include. I just wanted to. Desmond Belmont and the Order of Shadows, 1676. He's the great-grandson of Soleil Belmont, and his parents were killed by the Order, and his wife died in childbirth. Simon Belmont is his son. The leader of the Order is Rohan Kraus. They fight. Dracula comes back. They fight. Dracula says, no, not again.
That really ruins the narrative of the first Castlevania game because it's supposed to be like this long dormant thing that arises from the shadows and kind of tortures the land. Like, it's kind of just like, no, we did this like 20 years earlier. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many times do you defeat Dracula where like he loses his ominous presence?
Well,
like,
I think we'll get into just how much he's about to be revived.
I mean,
but
let's remember The Force Awakens, where literally everyone's like, are the Jedi, is that real? Or is that just a legend? Han Solo's like, it was 20 fucking years ago.
I know. That was my least favorite part of that movie, which is saying something.
It was real, all of it, because it fucking just happened yesterday, you idiots.
You weren't born, but I guess...
There's a little Grogu guy running around. He's still a Jedi. Like, fucking nerds.
Yeah, does Grogu die? Well, no, he's not a Jedi. Did you see Boba Fett?
Yeah, but he has Force powers, which is cool.
Yeah, he's cute and he passes out. It's great.
I liked it.
I like it.
I watched the first 2 episodes.
I
watched the first 2 episodes of Andor the other day, and I was like, "This is bad."
really?
Yes.
It was boring as fuck, and I'm like, "Just give me something. I'm here. Give me some action."
Did I not say it on the Discord? I said immediately. I'm like, we didn't need backstory for a character that was around for
One movie.
one movie. That doesn't matter. They could make it good.
They could try.
It could be good because all you have to do is have a good story about a character. But
Diego Luna, or whatever his name is, really wanted to come back to do something with Star Wars, but his character dies in Rogue One. Spoiler alert. But
Spoiler alert.
So does everybody, though.
Yeah.
Other than a CG Leia who's already dead.
thank you. I did a weird thing where I did
the Kung Pao Enter the Fist.
Yeah, exactly.
I just want to see more of Darth Vader doing his cool shit that he does at Rogue One because that was the only part of that movie I liked.
I loved that movie. I liked that whole movie. I thought it was really good. It was a good war movie.
But yes, turns out Desmond wasn't actually fighting Dracula, but Dracula's wraith. That's why it wasn't as powerful. But
Oh, cool.
1691, Simon Belmont.
There's our boy.
And Castlevania. This has the smallest of all of my summaries. He just kills him. There's no fluffy stuff. Fuck Dracula. I am Belmont. That's all it really. There's no.
That's our guy.
Yeah, that's our dude.
That's the guy.
You know, I have a really great pitch, and I'm hesitant to put it out there because I have a really great idea for a Castlevania movie. Okay. Have you guys seen The Raid?
Yeah, with the
That badass action film.
yeah.
Okay.
With all the cool fighting.
Now imagine Universal Monsters, and it's him fighting through Castlevania up to Dracula.
Just
That quality of action with just some of the craziest
With the
whip
whips
work
going
you've
around?
ever seen.
Oh
Yes.
my god, yeah. That
And
would
is
be
that not
so
the
sick.
best? Is that not the best pitch you've ever heard for a
Yeah, that's- I
Castlevania
would-
game?
He grabs a holy
There
potion,
might
throws
be
it on
like-
the ground, and the guy like slips and falls.
Like in between, you can add some sort of like flavor. Like you can do flashbacks for Simon and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But as you're moving along, and it's kind of giving you a map as
just
you go along.
the energy of a Doom game, just intense
Yes.
action
Yeah.
and heavy metal vampires.
Completely just like give them a John Wick. Give them something to roll with. Because if it's got to be action, make it action.
Yeah, and I want to see him like kill a demon and then a skeleton and then another demon, then
Yes.
out of nowhere, just like a fucking random end table.
Maybe there's an enemy made of fire, and he whips the enemy made of fire into the groups of skeletons.
Simon never talks either.
No.
Like they do the flashbacks of him as a kid, and everyone talks to him. He just sits there and just looks at him like, fuck you.
He just grunts.
just the
At the end, Dracula gives a monologue about how humans suck.
I swear to God,
And
if-
Simon just goes, no, you. And then he just.
I swear to God, if someone steals this, we're recording this on
23.
10/23. I'm gonna come looking for money.
Well,
If someone takes this from me,
in the wake of Dracula's death, Simon is struck with a curse. 1698, 7 years later, Simon is deteriorating, and he never got laid. No heirs. The curse inflicted upon Simon 7 years earlier continues to affect his body. A mysterious woman, which is the spirit of Sarah in the whip, appears to Simon while visiting.
that's retconned.
It
obviously.
is. It is, yeah. But she visits him while he is in the graveyard and tells him that Dracula will be revived and the curse will kill him if nothing is done to stop it. Simon must gather the body parts and burn them where his castle once stood. He gathers them, he burns them, and the curse leaves, and Simon does get laid.
Nice.
Way to go, buddy.
He
By the
mar-
whip. You're cute.
Simon, you're not bringing that whip to bed tonight. He just grips the whip a little harder and sets it down. He'd do it. He marries a woman named Selena at the age of 35. This will lead us to the next game, Juiced Belmont, with the Harmony of Dissonance in 1748. 50 years after Simon's battle, Juiced Belmont, because his parents didn't know how to name people properly.
Juste is a relatively common name. It's French.
I only know probably 7 or 8 Juice in my life so far.
I call myself Juiced, but for other reasons.
He is the grandson of Simon, and he continues the family's vampire hunting tradition. He also reads and studies magic like his ancestor Saifa Belnades. He has some magic in him.
Also looks suspiciously like Alucard.
Which I think is because they realized Alucard was the most marketable thing that they've done with the series in a while. So
Yeah.
everyone's going to be pale vampire looking boys.
True. Yeah.
Maybe Alucard really was the person who started once Alucard became popular, all the kids are descended from him. That's why they all look very much like him.
It's kind of hot.
It's pretty hot. I mean, can skateboard too. That's
A lot
good.
of cross-pollination in those DNA strands, though.
Cross-pollination. That was a good term.
The problem is, though, Juiced has a friend. His best friend's named Maxim, and Maxim wants all the glory. So when their friend Liddy goes missing, he goes off by himself, and he returns and says Liddy is in a castle, and Maxim seems a little out of it. Upon entering the castle, Maxim collapses, and Juiced fucking dips out and leaves him there to go explore the castle. Good friend. Juiced encounters Death, who is surprised that he is around. Death didn't know why he was back, but Maxim is losing his mind. Sometimes he seems normal, sometimes not. He explains he has reclaimed Dracula's remains and doesn't know what happened after that. Death will explain later on. The castle is a representation of Maxim's will. 2 personalities, and so does the castle. One in a human world and one outside of it. Maxim was the one who kidnapped Liddy. Maxim's possessed by an evil spirit. This happens to best friends that go evil. You're possessed. You fight an orb or something that is above him. And then you just might fight Dracula. But
Oh boy, when did this come out?
it's the Game Boy Advance, second one. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just looking for a year here. Okay, so we're looking at 2002.
1748. Actually.
Is this the one they made super bright?
This is the one that's pretty garish because it was on the dim Game Boy Advance
Yeah.
without the backlit screen. Yeah.
So also, what's interesting about this is it's clearly like a. So Naruto is popular at this point, and it's got a lot of the same plot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I have not seen a single. I know zero about Naruto, and
I've watched the anime when I was little, but I'll tell you what, I read it all.
Liddy and Juiced get together. They have a child who has a child. Juice's grandson is Richter Belmont. This takes us to 1792. Richter Belmont loved the ladies. He loved headbands, and he loved jackets without sleeves.
Is that why you made me Richter and every?
I mean, your fond for cutting all the sleeves off your jackets is well known.
Yeah,
And you wear a lot of headbands, too.
I do like headbands.
I can see it now anyways.
Okay.
Just listen to like late 80s music and loving it.
bumping White
Calling
Snake.
people nerds and skateboarding.
Yep.
Very Dylan.
Here I go in on my own.
It's just me driving on my motorcycle.
Well-
You know my famous motorcycle that I always ride on?
What you say is, Dylan, take those headphones off your head, and then you take them off your ears, and that's when you hear, here I go again on my own. That's when it was revealed. That's what you were listening to the whole time.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
A real movie here.
At the age of 19, Richter has a girlfriend named Annette who becomes his fiancée, but the Order of Shadows is reforming, and one of their strongest leaders was the Dark Priest Shaft. A sacrifice of a young woman was made, and Dracula returned. To lure Richter Belmont in, Annette was kidnapped, as well as several other young girls. He teams up with a 12-year-old girl named Maria Bernard, who throws birds at vampires.
If it works.
And it does. These Belmonts have been using the souls of like dead
Power of
women.
nature, you know.
And she's like, here's a bird, bitch. Just
Well,
throws it
just
at
a
your
little shaman
You
girl.
ever, you ever had a bird to the face? Yeah.
Well, birds have been
No.
terrorizing the Belmonts for forever. I've fought those things in the games. They're tough. It's about time we even the score.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maria's the shit. Richter prevails over Dracula. He says, what is a man? Perhaps the same could be said of all religions. Inspiring your favorite tattoo you have on your back.
To be honest, after doing all this, there's a part of me that wants to have a tattoo of Dracula going, have at thee, like purely pixelated, and then a broken wine glass in the foreground.
Yeah.
And then it just says, have at thee. That's
Have
that'd
at you.
be-
Have at you.
Have at you.
Yes.
In the is it have at you in the remake?
I don't remember. The remake sucks. Original dialogue only, in my opinion.
What is a man? I do this to my wife. I'm like, what is a man? A miserable pile.
Someone who does
secrets.
the goddamn dishes, Dylan.
I do all the dishes.
Richter and Maria save all the kidnapped girls. He marries Annette, and Richter was left defenseless from his battle with Dracula, though, and Shaft's curse entered his body. This takes us to 1797 with Alucard in the Symphony of the Night. Alucard senses the rise of evil, so he just awakens from a 300-year slumber. There was a lot of evil in those past 300 years that Alucard slept through, though.
He just kept hitting the snooze.
Not yet. Not yet, dude.
They've got it. They've got it.
They'll be fine.
All right, they don't got it. I'll get up.
Oh, big stretch.
God, my neck has a creak in it. I just don't know how to get it out.
Here's a Bloody Mary.
Frankenstein, come here. Can you work this out? No? Okay.
Death is surprised to see Alucard, but he's not interested in killing him, as he is his master's son. Alucard confronts Richter and frees him from Shaft's influence. Unable to influence Richter further, but with enough power of his own, Shaft then summons Dracula's true castle, the inverted floating version above in the sky. Shaft lets Alucard collect the pieces of Dracula's body and then uses his own spirit as fuel to summon Dracula. Alucard also fights Galamoth from a rematch from 300 years earlier from Kid Dracula. A little score to settle.
Yeah.
He remembers those chickens that he had to fight.
Yeah.
He's not happy. And turns out Alucard fights Dracula and Dracula says no and then he dies.
Oh.
I didn't see that coming.
Where have I seen that before?
That's crazy. If Alucard explained every corner and room in the castle, Maria bangs him. But only if he went into every room. Otherwise, she goes away with Richter.
Oh, man. Poor guy.
Wait, you didn't check out that bathroom? Fuck you, dude.
Fuck.
That's how it works. I've been in relationships, and it is about percentage completion of buildings you've been in.
Yeah, that was a mistake I had to
You
learn.
did good, but you missed the pantry. See ya.
You didn't check out every part of the pantry.
But it's not technically a room. It's like a closet.
it's part of it.
It's included in the square footage.
Alucard leaves to return to his sleep, and Maria decides to leave with him as she has fallen in love with him. Sometime later, Richter vanishes from history. In 1798, there was a radio drama, not in that year, but it takes place in 1798.
I was going to say, wow, that's pretty advanced.
Richter returns to Annette. His brief time as the Dark Lord of the castle has caused the vampire killer to reject him and cause him pain while using it. The Belmont bloodline has become cursed from Richter's dance with the devil. Alucard wouldn't bang Maria for risk of causing more of his dark bloodline, and Richter gave the vampire killer to Alucard for safekeeping, as the Belmonts are kind of not doing well. Okay.
Surely.
Alucard then makes a little bit of a mistake. He learns of the Order of Ecclesia and its use of glyph magic to battle evil. He meets its leader, Barlow. Alucard is still holding on to Dracula's teeth and arms and all of his remains. She's got a bag or something.
Fun.
One of those hobo sticks, like
Yeah.
over his shoulder.
Is that a thing?
Don't look at it.
It's my dad's.
It's called a bindle.
Dracula's wiener. He gives them to Barlow, who believed he could prevent Dracula's return by harnessing the dark power in these relics. This couldn't go wrong. The power harness created the glyphs called the Power of Dominus. 2 orphans were raised by Barlow named Albus and Shinoa, and Barlow's close proximity to Dracula's wiener caused him to succumb to Dracula's will, and he now seeks to bring him back because he was too close to Dracula's fangs, and he was tempted. Shit happens. Shinoa's good friend and like half brother, maybe boyfriend, I don't know. They were raised as orphans together. Any way they want to go with that is fine. He betrays her. Turns out he's trying to save her, but to bring back best friends who you have to that are at odds with you. Shinoa fights things. Albus reveals himself to be good. Barlow bad. They fight, and Dracula says no. That's essentially what happens. I'm getting tired of this shit.
Yeah, this is starting to like.
It's like every game is just a Desperate Housewives of Castlevania, and it ends with Dracula going, "No,
not again."
No, you're a bitch, Sharon. You slept with my husband.
On the next Castlevania.
It's just Alucard hitting snooze, and then it cuts to another Belmont. Like, well, I guess I gotta go fight this guy.
It's very much like Arrested Development's On the Next.
Yeah.
And my mom's like, "Oh, the drama! I can't stop watching."
I told you to put your skateboard away.
They're illusions, Dad.
If you're listening, I'm sorry, Mom.
Uncle Galamoth. Castlevania crumbles. Albus's spirit protects Shinoa, and he disappears. This takes us into 1821 with Morris Baldwin and Michael Gelhart. 1821 is when Mr. Werewolf is born, named Cornell. 5 years later, Dracula is resurrected. I wrote down getting tired of this. I was tired of the fucking outline at this point. Morris Baldwin seeks to stop him alone. He found Simon's whip in the village Shinoa saved. I'm tired of this shit.
I mean, so what is, it's just at a certain point they set everything in the 1800s because that's what they wanted. They wanted like a universal monster story.
Yeah.
Which a lot of those take place in the 1800s. Frankenstein was written in the early 1800s from my recollection. A lot of these stories in lore and mythology, like the modern Western take on a bunch of these European stories, all happened right then.
Yeah.
So it's a vibe. But I mean, geez.
You're really beating a dead horse at this point.
I just want to know where the mummy came from. Why is he here? Frankenstein. Was there a Dr. Frankenstein? You fight a Frankenstein monster.
Yeah, you fight many Frankenstein's monsters.
Yeah, nobody's explaining why.
Chaos.
I'm going to kill.
You got to accept it. It's just chaos.
It's just not okay.
Morris sought to fight Dracula with his friends. Come on, guys.
Let's go. Let's power through this.
What do you guys want to do today?
You said we were going to see Whitesnake.
Psych.
Oh, shit.
Jump in the carriage.
His friends are the Graves, who are also descended from vampire hunters. But shit happens. 1827, Richter and Annette have a child named Michael Gilhart Schneider. Schneider has abandoned the Belmont name out of shame of Richter's descent into darkness. Michael gets married.
But that felt like so long ago.
Michael gets married and has a son named Reinhardt.
Reinhard Schneider.
In 1830, Nathan Graves and the Circle of the Moon happens.
They went German with it this time.
This is cool. You don't fight... Oh, wait, no, you do fight Dracula. They had me. This is with Carmilla, though. She organizes Dracula's followers and brings them to her castle in Austria. So you go to a different... You're not in Castlevania in this one. But
Jesus.
In the end, Nathan defeats Carmilla, rescues Hugh and Morris, and defeats the Dark Lord Dracula. Dracula fades away and screams no. 1840, a descendant of the Belnades bloodline, a girl named Carrie Fernandez was born with magical abilities.
Fernandez?
It might have been a translation error, but that's what we got in America.
Belnades sounds Spanish, and she has a Spanish accent.
I can't read this. Just make it Fernandez.
It makes sense. Whatever.
Yeah, most of her family was murdered due to witchcraft because they actually are witches. So,
do you fight any witches in the games?
Yeah, you do. You fight the little witches on the brooms that turn into cats.
It just seems like they'd be better.
In 1844, Dracula's gained enough power to send death into the living world to resurrect his castle. Okay. There must be a sacrifice of a young girl to bring him back. Guy de Rais, a French vampire, who actually was a real historical serial killer that targeted children and was executed in the 1400s.
I just had a brilliant idea. Can I just...
Is Dahmer going to be part of Dracula's army?
I want to do a Castlevania set in America.
In Milwaukee.
1860s Civil War.
Perfect.
Dude, that sounds automatically cool. Like, it just shows up one day and everyone's like, what the fuck?
Oh, yeah, like the Battle of like Gettysburg or whatever. And then like
they keep
right as they're like...
they keep using the dead bodies to make fiends.
And there's enough energy after the Battle of Gettysburg to bring the castle back. And it appears on the horizon.
Yeah, who won that battle? Did the Union win that battle?
Maybe.
They're like celebrating and then all of a sudden it
I think America
Gettysburg
lost altogether.
No, Gettysburg was the turning point of the war. That's the whole reason.
And Lincoln's like, I'm going to make an address and end this whole man's career.
That's the furthest north that's the furthest north the South got before they were pushed back. But no, think of it like there's a character, his name is Dylan Belmont, and he
Okay, his name's Dylan.
His name's Dylan, not Dylan Belmont. It's revealed later.
He was a little drummer boy, and that's why he survived the battle. He was just doing a drum solo.
He's real good with a whip, and who knows why.
Well, back in those days, they didn't shoot the drummer boys. They're like, nah, let them go. We're going to shoot the guys with the guns.
Oh, that's the first person they'd kill.
The drummer boy?
Yeah.
No, but he's out there vibing.
Yeah, but he's also giving them like the marching cadence, which they'll fall apart without it.
Okay, so the flag guy, they let that guy go, right?
But he was like busy like deflecting all the bullets because he's so good with the flag.
That should be Dylan Belmont.
You remember Color Guard in high school?
Yeah.
You remember? They couldn't get on the dance team. So.
I mean, theoretically, you could do it. Those guns were so slow back then. It'd be like a paintball coming at you, that musket ball.
And honestly, I think the flag guy probably learned most of their moves within 2 days. Like, just up and down and right.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if you're fancy, flip it.
Yeah, it's true. That's a very funny thing to
Dylan Belmont in the Battle of Gettysburg.
Yeah. Ooh,
that brings us to the Battle of Gettysburg with Dylan Belmont.
Yeah, perfect.
But Guy de Rais, a French vampire serial killer, as well as actrice a witch obsessed with gaining immortality. She has killed 100 children to prove her loyalty to Dracula.
Doesn't it suck that the thing I just made up is actually more interesting than these stories?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Also,
Dylan,
she killed 100 children.
That's fucking depressing because I came up with that just now.
She killed 100 children when all she had to do was probably kill one girl. Because it sounds like that's his juice right there. He's like, yeah.
This logic, you either kill one girl or start World War I to bring Dracula back. There's not a lot of in between. Which does happen. But the sacrifice occurs and Dracula rises. However, his true power remains in the Chaos Realm. So they need a large amount of dark energy, and that's why they seek out a werewolf named Cornell.
Cornell?
In ancient times, a curse was put on a tribe that made them werewolves, and Cornell's got a buddy named Ortega. They were competitive, and Ortega's the best friend who's the bad guy.
They should have named his adversary Dartmouth.
Dartmouth? I don't get this one.
Cornell University,
okay.
Dartmouth University, Ivy League.
And their girlfriend Harvard.
Their son Stanford.
Yeah.
I don't know if Stanford's considered in there, but we're going to take it.
Cornell, though, was superior, and Ortega was always the jealous best friend. One night, they lost control of their werewolfness and slaughtered a whole village. Shit happens. Death asks Cornell to join him. He says, no, you. And they fight people. He saves a young girl named Ada, and he defeats Dracula, but Dracula had acquired the dark energy he needed. Death performs a ritual, and in a nearby town, a child is born named Malice. Dracula reincarnated.
Now we're reincarnating the guy who comes back?
His name is Malice? I'm naming him Evil Guy.
I will call him Mini-Me.
Okay, keep going. I'm trying to even pay attention.
Is your child eating a person?
Don't mind him.
He's growing pains. 1852, we have Reinhard Schneider in Castlevania 64. Malice's 8th birthday, he awakens as Dracula. Imagine just turning 8 and you're like, oh no.
They said puberty would suck, but this is terrible.
8? That's not when it happens. I don't know about you.
Well, I'm just saying.
It explains everything about you now.
I'm not a descendant of Dracula. This guy is.
That's true.
Well, technically reincarnated.
Reincarnation.
Yeah, the Schneiders fight these fuckers. Carrie Fernandez is there.
Carrie.
Okay.
They ran into Dracula time and again. Turns out, though, it was Guy de Rais parading as a body double. The real Dracula is a child that they've been helping out in the castle.
Okay, so hold on. Okay. The murderous witch who killed 100 children is a body double now for...
No, not the witch. That's actrice.
Actrice, I'm sorry.
Guy de Rais.
Guy de Rais, the murderer of 100 children.
No, the actrice murdered 100 children, but Guy de Rais is a serial killer who killed children as well.
I have a question. Is it spelled Guy?
It's Gils.
So she's such a good actress. She can
you're
be
right.
a body double for Dracula.
No, that's Guy de Rais, the body double.
God damn, this is confusing.
She's just a witch. Reinhardt does run into a cool guy. He runs into a dude named Charlie Vincent, who self-proclaims himself to be the mightiest vampire hunter. Although, if you don't get there fast enough, he gets killed by Dracula. But this dude just goes in all energy like, I'm the best.
Wait, what happens if he survives? Does he kill Dracula? Does Dracula go no?
If he survives, Charlie just says that he did all the work.
I'm the best vampire hunter. I got 2 names. Let me get in there. I got 2 first names.
I am the best. Fuck you. They rescue Malice.
Could also be a serial killer.
Yeah.
He's probably descended from a serial killer vampire with a werewolf mom. We don't know.
It's me, John Wayne Gacy.
Belmont. I'm John Wayne Gacy Belmont.
That's all fine and dandy, dude, but why are you dressed like a fucking clown?
Honk, honk.
Illusions. They're illusions. All I know, if you're a Belmont and you have a best friend, just watch out, because that dude will go bad at some point.
Unless you're Alucard.
Malice, this child reveals himself to be the true Dracula, and I put down, he is sexy now. He just all of a sudden grows up and turns into a sexy vampire at this point.
It's every woman's dream to date a grown man with an 8-year-old
body. Oh, he's perfect.
Oh, he's great. Look at him. Sexy.
His name is Anger?
I have a popsicle.
Whoa, if you put blood into popsicle shapes and put them in the freezer, just put a popsicle stick in there, and you have a little popsicle made out of blood.
This one looks like my favorite cartoon character because you get the molds, and then you put the juice water in there, and then it looks like SpongeBob.
Honey, check it out. Look at I caught this grasshopper.
I'm a vampire. I almost pulled off one of its legs.
And that's your husband? Yeah. He's great.
Hot though, right?
Reinhardt encounters a young woman named Rosa who was turned into a vampire, but he gets her turned back into a human, and they have a child. Then he takes the name of Schneider Belmont. He reclaims the Belmont name afterwards.
Okay.
And Carrie visits her mother's grave and just disappears. Bram Stoker's Dracula happened. Alucard discovers 2 potential Belmonts, one in Spain named Eric, and the Morris family. They became Texas billionaires, and they're a split from the Belmonts. So finally, we have a Texan character that's about like
Just what this story needed.
we needed a Texas oil billionaire.
Honestly, that's a cool story.
Yeah. John was 20, and his father, Quincy, went to visit an old friend in England, played by Keanu Reeves. They fought Dracula, and he was killed. But that's the plot of Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Don't they get him in his grave? I forget the plot of Dracula.
It's been a while since I read the book. I know in the movie, it's like out in front of Castlevania.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which
I'm
they don't even
literally
mention
just
once in the book. I read Bram Stoker's Dracula. They
I'm
never
literally
call
gonna
it Castlevania.
every time I refer to any adaptation of Dracula, I'm just literally going to call it Castlevania 12 Dracula.
What are you reading? Oh, Castlevania 12 by Bram Stoker.
I love that Keanu Reeves is canonically attached to this now.
Yeah, you
that
Twisted
Winona-
Inferno.
That Winona Ryder. Oof.
Oof! Wow.
I'm a big fan.
Wilhelmina Murray, am I right?
Yeah. I remember her.
Well, and then when the werewolf is having sex with the redhead, I remember as a kid being like, "Am I into demon shit?"
No, it's just hot.
It's just hot.
Yeah, it's psychosexual.
Alucard gives John Morris the vampire killer, and he is unable to use the full power, but he can still use it, although it does hurt him because he's not a full Belmont. So using the vampire killer is not good for him.
Why?
He gives
Other people who've used it and who aren't.
He gives Eric the Alucard. He gives Eric the Alucard spear. I guess he just gave him a cool spear and he just named it after himself.
Here's my spear I gave you. It's named after me.
Yeah, it's the B-Rad bazooka. Can I call it something else? No. Use the name. At this point,
The D-Hoff Dung Slinger.
ooh, it's just a pooper scooper.
You just poop
But you
it
wrote
on.
you
have
wrote
to poop
you,
on it yourself.
you wrote D-Hoff on it,
Yeah.
and you just like poured blood on it and said it was a ritual.
Yeah, exactly.
At this point, Alucard moves to Japan to further study the prophecy of 1999. We didn't mention this before, but when Nostradamus was around, he
You mean Arukado?
Arikado. Genya Arikado.
Arikado-san.
Arikado-san. Nostradamus, though, we didn't mention this before because I didn't want to read half the shit I wrote down. Nostradamus, though, did make a prediction that in 1999, during an eclipse, Dracula would rise to full power.
Like the real Nostradamus did that in real life, or in the because the
he didn't.
storyline in real life is starting to meld.
It's all-
Keanu Reeves is involved.
As far as I know, this is a true story.
Okay,
All of it.
It's all kept secret by, I don't know, chaos.
Illuminati.
Chaos.
The Clintons.
Yeah. yeah. And Epstein. Yeah.
We never saw the emails.
Those.
It's just the plot.
Emails.
It's a plot of Castlevania 13, and someone really
But where are the emails?
Lock her up, like I've been saying before. Dad, I voted for her.
Dad, she seems real groovy. Her policies.
I'm once again asking you to kill the fucking vampires.
I did not have sex with that vampire.
And that brings us to 1999 and Bernie Belmont.
Bernie Belmont.
I want equal rights for all werewolves.
God, that was the worst Bill Clinton I've ever done. I can actually do it.
I did not have sex with that vampire woman.
It was awful.
It was a blowjob.
She only paid a little.
Oh, plot twist. Monica was a vampire. And then she bit and sucked Bill. That's why Bill's living so long.
Also, why is this more interesting than what we're reading?
We'll fix that. In June of 1914 at Sarajevo, the Crown Prince of Austria, Franz Ferdinand, was assassinated and started World War I.
That's real.
That's all factual.
From the Black Hand, yes.
This was done by Dracula's niece, Elizabeth Bartley.
That's where you lose me.
We don't know.
Got a niece?
Who was he has a niece who was plotting a sacrificial war in order to bring her uncle back to life. She was plotting with the dark sorceress Drolta Juentes. Yeah.
You know, honestly...
Do you fight on a Zeppelin in this?
This is the one, though, where John Morris and Eric Lacard, they explore Europe, and they, go to Atlantis and fight up the Tower of Pisa.
Did they fight on a Zeppelin?
No Zeppelins, unfortunately.
That's so stupid. That's
opportunity missed.
Yeah.
But if you need enough souls to bring Dracula back, starting World War I to bring Dracula back is probably the most badass idea they've had so far.
That is probably the most interesting conceptually. I think you're right.
I'm going to murder Franz Ferdinand and start a world war to bring him back. Like that, you had
the
me.
tensions. To know you even know the trigger of it. Franz Ferdinand wasn't the true cause. It was a buildup of several different things.
That was a small event, but everyone's I promised to have his back, and he's dating my cousin.
Yep. And
so I guess I have to fight you now. And then, all of a sudden, the dads get involved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, this isn't as good as, the Gettysburg Address and Dylan Belmont.
Everyone.
And
then the president, Dilbraham Lincoln. Jesus Christ.
Dilbraham Lincoln.
Dilbraham Lincoln.
We're getting there, folks.
Oh, my God.
Jonathan... Oh, wait, we missed it. Just a sec. Oh, they explore Europe and fight stuff.
They go to Atlantis.
They finally get to England where Elizabeth is located. They fight Death and Elizabeth and Drolta. Dracula has returned. They fight Dracula. He screams no.
And he's gone.
Yeah, and he's gone. 1944, Jonathan Morris and the Portrait of Ruin. John had married and had a son named Jonathan Morris. Eric married and had twin daughters named Stella and Loretta in 1929. John Morris, that's tough. His dad, the guy who went around Europe, he died from using the vampire killer and made Eric promise not to let Jonathan use it because it would kill his son as well. Eric trained his daughters and Jonathan. The world is in chaos right now due to the Second World War. The souls of the dead roam the earth. Their anguish summons Dracula in 1942. They discover a vampire named Bronner who has claimed the castle as his own. New vampire. Better, maybe?
We're getting better. I mean, the World War I, World War II storyline is much more captivating. It's cooler. And now we got a new vampire.
And they're all wearing flapper clothes, and they're going...
There's also nothing... I feel like there's nothing more Texan than hey, by the way, don't use that whip too much because it's going to kill you. And he's like, God damn it, you don't tell me what to do. I'm going to fucking go out there. I'm going to kill some vampires.
Don't do it.
I fucked a pile of sand yesterday.
Bronner's daughters were killed in World War I, and in his grief, he became a vampire. And Eric confronted Bronner alone, and he was imprisoned by Bronner. Bronner became obsessed with having Eric's daughters as his own, so they were lured to the castle. He murdered Eric in front of them and cast a spell on them, and now they believe that they are Bronner's daughters. And Eric's ghost is tied to the castle. Jonathan Morris and his ally Charlotte Olin step forward to fight evil. I guess Charlotte was descended from the Fernandez clan because it's gotten a little bit of that Star Wars thing where everyone needs to be a Skywalker or a Solo.
Yeah.
Or C-3PO banged my mom once, and that's why I look like him.
Yeah. That's why you're shy.
I do believe I am giving it to you good.
I came.
Just matter of fact.
I don't understand human orgasms.
I came. I was already here.
Human fuck relations.
I'm not going to do any more. Pass.
Okay. It's fine.
They fight Dracula. They free Loretta and Stella, and the ghost of Eric Lacard helps them out. Dracula is freed, unfortunately, when they defeat Bronner, because the dark energy of Bronner brings Dracula back. The Count, Dracula, and Death fight together, but are too weak. Death yields all of his power to Dracula, causing the strongest D-man they have ever faced. But they still win.
How dare you?
Stella and they've ever faced yet. Stella and Loretta are free to live their lives as human beings, and Jonathan returns to Texas. We're almost there, guys.
Well, see, they kind of lost me for a while there, but now getting into this storyline, I'm reinvested.
Okay. There's not much left.
Okay.
The Demon Castle Wars happened in 1999. This is some epic shit.
Yeah, which isn't even a game.
If Konami makes another Castlevania, it will be the Demon Castle Wars.
Is that what they've said?
It's got to be. They've every game has teased it for the past 8 games.
I don't think they are.
It's epic if they do.
I doubt it.
On August 11th, 1999, a total solar eclipse appears over Eastern Europe, and according to Nostradamus' prediction, Dracula would be revived this day. The Belmont clan has reemerged. The Belnades clan and Alucard all confirm it is indeed the coming revival of the Dark Lord, as was prophesied by Aeon from the future, who went back in the past with Saint Germain to tell Nostradamus. Great. He also great. Alucard reclaims the whip from Jonathan Morris and bequeaths it to the younger Julius Belmont. And Alucard finds the magic of the Hakuba clan to be perfect for trapping Dracula in the solar eclipse soon to come. Dracula returned during a red eclipse in 99. Diseases spread around the world, storms ravaged everywhere, and chaos brought Castlevania back. This eclipse created a wormhole that allowed Dracula to tap into unlimited power. So this is the strongest it's ever been. The entire world comes together and they go to war with the similar, they're all together, except Republicans who said maybe Dracula's not that bad. And they're trying to sit there. There's a few people campaigning for him. It's really misguided. But
he shows a fake sheriff's badge.
Yeah.
Dracula won't release his tax returns.
We still haven't seen Julius Belmont's emails. Yeah. I'm just asking questions here, folks. Just asking questions.
Remember when Dracula led an insurrection?
We saw him openly admit to killing people.
Yeah, I saw it.
He gets off on it.
Humanity united together, and they dropped a fucking nuclear bomb on Castlevania. That actually happens canonically, which is pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Nothing could stop this, though. Julius and the vampire killer was the only way. And with the secret art of the Hakuba clan, Dracula's castle is trapped and confined within the darkness of the eclipse. This permanently seals Dracula away until they needed to make another game years later. Alucard seeks to prevent another disaster from happening, so he uses the help of government and forms a secret international agency.
I'm going to kill myself.
Now we're getting governments involved. He forms a secret agency.
Yeah, he's like Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible or something.
He has no support staff.
Yeah.
Where's his Simon Pegg?
I don't even like paperwork, dude.
Oh my God.
How long has he been asleep at this point? He wakes up and he's like, you know what? First thing I got to do? Secret agency.
Yep. So Alucard forms a government agency, and Julius suffered from amnesia during the battle with Dracula, and he only remembers his first initial as J and forgets everything else. Alucard, though, made a discovery that another eclipse would soon happen over Japan in 2035, and in 2017, he felt a mysterious presence like his father's. The source was the baby of his father. His father as a baby. Reincarnated. It sounded weird.
Yeah. Like his brother?
Yeah. Maybe. Soma Cruz was born and grew up and had the hots for his friend Mina Hakuba. Alucard changes his name to Genya Arikado. And
wait, what? He changed his name a third time.
Yeah, he actually had to go in and fill out a bunch of paperwork. He brought his birth certificate and they said 1300.
It's a long story.
It's a long story, but yes.
It's a long story, man.
Oh, man. It's real. It's real, dude.
And he changes his name to what?
From Transylvania, 1300. To Genya Arikado. And he works with Yoko Belnades, a powerful witch descended from Sypha, because everybody is descended from everybody.
There's like 4 families.
And in 2035, Soma Cruz happens in the Aria of Sorrow. On the night of a solar eclipse, high school students Soma and Mina are transported to Dracula's castle. Soma wakes. He finds himself to have the ability to absorb the souls of monsters. Julius Belmont's there, as well as Graham Jones, an ex-soldier named Hammer, who is descended from Grant Danassi. So at least that happens. We'll take that one. That's a win.
So he finally got laid somewhere.
Yeah, Grant did manage to procreate, and eventually he has this big badass, like super great grandson named Hammer. Probably also into some freaky shit.
Hammer Dynasty.
Hammer Dynasty. That is a good porn name.
I mean, if I ever devolve,
Assholevania.
if shit goes real wrong for me, you know what it's going to be.
Yeah, and the end of innocence.
Oh God,
That's going to be one of the
starring
porn names.
Hammer Dynasty and Dylan Belmont.
You know how they like that type of shit on Pornhub, though, so it's fine.
They're all there. They fight a bunch of things. They finally arrive at the throne room, and Soma learns that he is Dracula Reborn. He fights Graham, some other guy, and frees himself from the chaotic power of Dracula. He travels into the Chaos Realm and fights Chaos. And Chaos is, of course, the interdimensional entity that truly holds Dracula's power. He finds the core and he fights it, liberates himself. This will never happen again. 1 year later, in 2036, it's been 1 year. Soma is at peace, but a cult leader named Celia Fortner is trying to bring Dracula's power back with a few different people named Dmitry Blinov and Dario Bossi. And
They do. Oh my God.
yeah.
This is the one I played the most. This is my most played Castlevania. Dawn of Sorrow.
These games are good.
They're fucking awesome.
Yeah. But you fight things. Dracula doesn't come back because you are Dracula, so that's good. You don't have to fight Dracula at the end.
that's a nice spin that they should have done maybe a couple hundred years ago.
Okay.
And Dracula's soul has found redemption.
Tyler, everyone's a critic.
But Dracula's soul has found redemption in Soma. In 2037, there was a radio drama or something. Julius Belmont's pupil, Curtis Lang,
Or something.
together with his ally, Michelle Dynasty.
In
Michelle Dynasty.
Sounds like a hottie. I don't know.
In 2037?
Yep.
So it's a podcast.
I imagine her to be like.
There's a podcast.
There's a podcast.
I imagine Michelle Dynasty to be like a really like down home hot like Florida girl, super tan.
Yeah.
Wears like tube tops.
Like if Buffy the Vampire Hunter wore less clothing and had a southern accent.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And she really likes Jimmy Buffett for no reason.
From Tallahassee.
She just loves Jimmy Buffett. That's like the joke at the end of every episode. Well, and it's important to notice to know at this point, Raw Dogs has been around for a while, so some of these characters might have listened to us. They might have found us.
Jesus.
They're listening to our timeline episode. Like, what happens? That's amazing. Curtis Lang and Michelle Dynasty battle the rogue vampire Ulrox. Yeah, Ulrox. Death teams up with him, which is cool about this because Death sees Ulrox as a traitor, and he's still.
Why would Death even team up with anyone? He's got like the best gig on the face of the planet.
I guess he's kind of loyal to
People
Soma.
keep dying. He's always in business.
Yeah,
He
he's
must
set.
get bored, though.
Nah,
Now we're into bullshit territory for real.
this is gonna suck.
The Grimoire of Souls, a mobile-only game that has been canceled. 2037. Count Dracula is destroyed, but Genya Arikado receives a mysterious envelope, and
They still mail in this in 2037.
I guess so. Maybe he received a mysterious email.
You know what the funniest
That
part
said
about
urgent.
it is? In the last game, everyone looked suspiciously like they were from the 2000s.
Fashion hasn't changed much, it turns out.
Oh, weird.
What if there was laser pistols? That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah.
But he receives a letter from Lucy Westenra, and he goes to the Elgos building, the government agency, and she has a bunch of grimoire books,
Ah, yes, Algos.
and you must enter the books and defeat the monsters inscribed into them.
Is this
And
Kingdom Hearts recoded?
yes. Yes.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Inside the book, you encounter historic, like recreations of all of the famous Belmonts and characters.
Oh.
So you actually do. None
Like
of them are.
Aladdin and Hercules?
You encounter Simon Belmont, Richter Belmont, and Aladdin.
Oh, my. Oh, yeah. Aladdin Belmont. Yes, yes, yes.
And you team up with somebody trying to do the voice of Robin Williams and doing a very poor job of it. Dan Castellaneta
did a
he does
fine
a
job.
good job.
He does okay.
He does okay.
Yeah.
But yes, you enter these books, and somehow the real death has also entered these books. So you fight the real death. Otherwise, it's just the real Alucard and a bunch of book versions. It is, and then it's revealed. There's a twist. Hermina was trying to prevent Dracula's resurrection, despite you thinking they were the bad guy.
This was canceled, right?
No, it was released, but it was taken off the stores, delisted.
Wow. Okay. Good investment.
Soma becomes Dark King Soma.
Okay.
The book version becomes bad. But you go back into as far back into written history as possible to Trevor Belmont in this game. You can't go back further because the books were just deteriorated, I guess. They cannot summon him, though, as the legend is too old. Dracula's word version is defeated. He's
Dracula's word version?
Yep, he's just word Dracula. He's not real Dracula.
So
He's just
erase Dracula from history? Is that what we're implying?
that sounds better than what it is, so yeah.
That's actually an interesting idea because then we wouldn't have remembered Dracula.
And then there wouldn't be cults like bringing him back. That's not bad.
That's actually not too shabby in terms of an idea, but
Yeah.
touch controls? No, thank you.
Guys, we're getting close.
There's more.
12,000 years into the future.
Jesus Christ.
Castlevania. Castlevania Judgment. Galamoth, the Demon King from an era 10,000 years in the future, which is where we are in the present now, wishes to conquer time, and he sends his servant, the Time Reaper, to assassinate Dracula in order to rule the past. A time traveler and guardian of the timeline, Aeon, gathers powerful warriors from across all of time, also across 1,000 years. They didn't go outside of all the time, but
They couldn't summon like someone cool.
they need to prevent a catastrophe. So deep in the past of the distant future.
They couldn't summon like Winston Churchill or something. She's not a warrior,
Just
but it'd be pretty good.
Drinking a shitload of whiskey and smoking
I
cigars.
don't think he was a drunk.
I think he was. Wasn't he like?
was a big
Wasn't he like extremely drunk? I've heard like his drinking habits would scare us.
People born like from the 1950s to the 1900s were rampant alcoholics. Like even your most average functional alcoholic would make an alcoholic today look good.
Yeah.
I feel pretty safe.
Because when they filmed Boardwalk Empire, they did a whole bunch of research into it, and they had to tone down the drinking because they thought the accurate amount from history would be unrealistic.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the Time Reaper owned a time vortex.
I learned something new.
Something happened. Aeon traveled into the rift to stop this, but found a lock that was guarded by 13 soul keys that could only be opened through conflict. So the time rift expanded and started pulling heroes and villains from history. And Aeon made them fight each other to open the soul keys.
Can you play as Grant Dynasty?
Yeah.
What does he do?
He looks like a weird mummy version of himself.
There's
Really?
the mummy.
He looks like Valdo from Soul Calibur.
Nice.
Yeah, not so much that.
After they fought each other, Aeon unlocks the rift and he fights the Time Reaper to save all of reality. He does. Galamoth's plan has failed. And we did it. That's it.
We finally did it, guys. What did we learn today? This is my biggest question. What did we learn about... So this series has been going on almost as long as video games. That's something we can take away. When you try to... Sometimes the fucking little elf boy has to save the princess. Sometimes he just has to do it.
And we
He
don't.
didn't have to do it before.
Yeah. What did we learn here today? That Brad spends too much time on timelines.
Brad, I don't... How did you even type any of this?
Do you want to see 17 pages? Because it's brutal.
I don't want to know. I would... No, I barely have patience for anything in my own given life.
Yeah, me too, man.
They took something as simple as Belmont must fight or fuck, and then we have fighting book versions of Dracula and Grant Dynasty traveling 12,000 years in the future.
That's cool, though. I mean, Grant Dynasty, I think we all agree, is the greatest character.
I'm just going to reiterate, if anyone steals my really awesome idea, like you can picture it happening, like, just don't take my idea. I'm going to come after you. We've literally timestamped this. I'll use this as evidence in court.
What we've learned is there is a very solid, long, written history that Netflix can adapt into a show that I would watch.
Next is Richter, right?
Richter and Alucard. They're going to do Rondo of Blood will be what happens next, and then they're going to. I'm
Symphony.
sure they go right into
Season 2 is going to be Symphony of the Night,
Well,
and
cool.
it's nice that they chose that. But I thought choosing Simon would be the next logical choice.
I think after Symphony of the Night, if it keeps going and they want to keep making, they're probably going to go back to like Lament of Innocence, right? That's the PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah,
Ooh, that's an interesting idea.
I bet you they do that.
They'll probably adapt it better too.
Or they could even just like, this is a movie special. Like we just have an hour long, like an hour and a half long movie of Lament of Innocence.
Honestly, release that around Halloween, people would eat it up.
I think it'd be more approachable too. I think also Marvel has realized like specials are cheaper to make and probably more successful.
Well, like Werewolf by Night.
Werewolf by Night was amazing.
I didn't even watch it.
It's very good. And I think after the success of that, they're like, maybe we should just make movie specials instead of 8 episodes of a show.
Well, this timeline has a lot of fucky shit in it that is just weird and dumb. But Netflix does have a lot of good shit to draw from. Like, you could produce several movies or several seasons of a TV show that are going to be good.
Christopher Belmont being raised by his butler who's teaching him to be a badass fighter.
That'd be cool.
That's okay. But here's my main thing. So that same company who makes Castlevania was also hired to produce the Devil May Cry anime adaptation.
Oh, then they're definitely going to do Lament of Innocence.
But here's the thing. They announced that like 4 years ago.
Well, COVID also happened, too.
Doesn't matter.
They've been making
animation.
a Bioshock movie for 10 years.
Well, they wanted Gore Verbinski to do it, but it's fine.
But
Whatever.
we're in the era, though, where every streaming service is so desperate for content, and it's cheap enough to make anything.
I might be quitting Netflix soon
Okay.
because of their dumb policies.
I watch too much Netflix that
What dumb policy? The ads
no
that are coming?
sharing and
sharing.
and ads. But
I share with family members, and I pay for it. So I don't mind if it's like if they gave me like $2 per profile, I would say fuck it. But they're going to go a lot higher than that.
That's stupid.
Yeah, isn't it? I would pay $2 a month so my mom can watch. I don't know, The Mentalist.
I don't know what moms watch. Whatever.
Good Wife.
Well, coming up next on Hair of the Dogcast. Next week, we do have the Dogcast returning proper. Lots of news to discuss, including the Bayonetta 3 voice actor controversy, Disco Elysium's developers getting the boot, as well as a bunch of new video game trailers and things along those lines. And our topic will be console hardware errors. Very excited for that episode.
Oh, I'll talk about the Red Ring.
And
the Red Ring.
following that, we have Elden Dogs, where we're going to go down into the underground rivers. And since Castlevania month's over, we can get back to discussing Elden Ring and news and other things.
There we go.
And following that, we have a special, previously Patreon exclusive episode of PSVR, because we're going to be, for our Patreon members, having a Final Fantasy IX series coming to them. So excited about that.
That's only for Patreon?
Part 2 is.
Oh.
But they'll get access to it at least a month earlier for Part 1.
Listen, I've got a lot of things to say about this game. I'm going to legitimately play through it again.
I just finished it yesterday for the first time ever.
Yeah.
I have it installed.
Can you give us a taste of how you felt?
Happily frustrated.
Yeah.
It's a product of its time. But Hair of the Dogcast, we exist because of people like you. Thanks for listening. If you have questions or thoughts about this episode, you can tweet us at HotDogcast or find us on Instagram or Facebook at Hair the Dogcast. Also, email us at hairthedogcast@gmail.com. We have tons of bonus episodes, things early, an exclusive podcast just for Patreon members where we talk about movies and television called Popcorn Dogs. If you want access to all of this, go to patreon.com/hairthedogcast. Thanks to executive producers Ryan Christianek, Tyler Keller, Kip, and Brian Ward. And we are part of the HyperX Podcast Network. For more information, check out podcast.hyperx.com.
Now I have something to add.
The Gettysburg Address in Dillon.
No, never mind. Actually, I have a plan for our executive producers. Anyone who wants to join us at the $5 range or up, I will legitimately draw a funny little picture of your favorite video game character and mail it to you. If you subscribe at $5 or higher. Now you have to contact me on my Instagram. It's at DemonsDrawDylan.
Or at Discord where everyone already can contact you.
Well, you could do that too. But also, if you really want to send me your favorite character, it could be dumb, it could be silly. I can't guarantee the quality, but it will get sent out to you for Christmas.
Can I request a Dillingham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
Yes, that would be too easy. So you've already got
request a video game character, but they're all going to be versions where they're Dylan.
I feel like Garlic Man would be great.
Garlic Man.
I mean, Garlic Man's pretty good. If you want to do something funny too, just send me a concept. Give me a challenge. It's fine. But you're all entitled to it.
So what was your favorite year in the Castlevania timeline?
1999.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the World War I, the 19...
pretty dope.
Whatever
1914.
It was, yeah.
There's just so many years I don't care about.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 12,000. I'm going to go 12,000.
You know, there's so
not a
many
real
years.
year.
There's so many years, and I just don't care about them.
I think I'm going to go when Alucard joins a government agency and changes his name to Genya Arikado.
He does like Asian face. He does yellow face.
No, I'm not going to do the joke.
This is as far as I'll go.
Alrighty, folks. Castlevania month is over. I don't think we're going to be talking about Castlevania for a while. I'll put these games away finally.
No,
Holy shit.
Castlevania month will definitely resurrect
Well, we
itself
learned that
in
your
100 years.
Castlevania. Well, we learned that your Castlevania Bloodlines Genesis game is worth a lot of money because it's in
The original
the
case.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess we're free of bullshit until Mega Manuary.
Oh, God.
No.
Yeah.
You haven't been through the other Mega Man.
I know, but if it's even...
I can't play Mega Man 0.
We're already through the good ones. We're past Mega Man's 1 through 11 and Mega Man X. We are on Z, ZX, and then Legends. And I don't even want to think about Battle Network.
We're doing all of them in one shot?
We're going to do all of Z and ZX, and we might do Legends. Because
Do I have to play Mega Man Legends?
No, I'm not going to.
No, do I have to play Mega Man Battle Network?
No.
They're actually pretty decent games.
Those are supposed to be good, but I'm done beating video games that I don't want to play.
I think that's a really good rule.
Yeah, that's my New Year's resolution. Also, if you're still listening, folks, for the Dogcast 125, it's the return of Tom. Tom is going to join us. Yeah, it's like a month out, but Tom said he is in. So it'll be 5 of us, and it'll be an epic party with Josh and Tom and us 3. So
We're gonna like tie him down.
we might need to
can't leave no more.
We might need to do like an evening recording so we can get really drunk.
Yeah, that's a good move.
We got to get Tom drunk.
Yeah.
I saw Tom at your wedding, and sometimes I'm like, I'm kind of like, I want more of this Tom.
Yeah.
Kate's just dancing around him.
I was having the most like beautiful slow dance with my grandma. Carly's dancing with my dad, and I look over, and Kate and Tom are like air humping each other without touching.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I saw
everyone.
that.
We'll see you later. We're here to announce a special deal for all of our Hair of the Dogcast listeners. If you've had your eye on any of the pink variants of HyperX gear, you can save 15% off during the month of October by using code HXPN over at HyperX.com. Get yourself an elegant white and pink Cloud 2, or a metallic pink Alloy Origin 60, or any of the other pink peripherals on the site. Once again, head over to HyperX.com and get 15% off all pink gaming products with code HXPN, all caps.